I turned KFC into a virtual reality game. After loads of comments asking, I finally decided to make another VR fast food simulator. And not only am I trying to recreate the iconic experience at KFC, I added new flavors like Korean fried chicken and machines that I think KFC should even add to their real restaurants. Since my first time using Unreal Engine 6 months ago, I wanted to test how far I've come in VR game development. And even though I have come far, this project made me face many bugs and problems that I was not expecting. To make this recreation, I made a list of 7 steps, and the first one is to model the kitchen. And in order to do that, I need to do some research. The last time I went to KFC was years ago. I think I got a drumstick and gravy. Anyways, the plan is to go into KFC, order a bucket chicken, and try record the restaurant. You can see the red cushion seats against the wall, the black hanging lights, and the iconic KFC logo, which I eventually recreated to look like my crow. I also looked at reference photos like this, and I recreated the ceiling, which I thought was better than what I did in my other games, which it just had plain old flat planes. I also saw these paintings, so I used AI to generate a low poly version of them, which I thought turned out actually pretty good. And after finishing the kitchen, it was time to recreate the first feature: flowering. Although I went to KFC, I unfortunately couldn't look at the kitchen, and the only video I found online is from 13 years ago about how they made the chicken. It's probably because they're trying to guard their chicken recipe.
So this is how you make the chicken.
And the first thing you need to do is to flour the chicken with the secret spice. So I recreated this pan and I got a chicken model of Polito Pizza. I also got a flour bag model from it too. Turns out the one time I need a model, the website crashes. So I tried to model it myself, and it didn't work out well. But you know, the reason why it's just magically filling up is because I created the particles later on in the video when I also created the sauce machine. Yeah, like I said before, I added new flavors like orange chicken and Korean fried chicken. But before that, I had to work on the next step, which was cooking the chicken. I used my old deep fryer model from my McDonald's video, and I used a timeline to make it so floured chicken would cook to orange and unfloured chicken would cook to brown. Yeah, so I also added a new chicken type without the flour. And unlike the pizzas in my Pizza Hut game, they can also both burn. Right now it looks a bit bland. I added bubbles and steam later on when I polished the game, but for now I just left it. To actually get the chicken, I made a machine that spawned chicken thighs and drumsticks. I didn't really know where the chicken would come from, so I had a genius idea to make a window where you can see the live chicken slowly move on a conveyor belt to the death. I made a chicken killer. The chickens go past, and I'm gonna have like drumsticks spawn from over there, so it will make sense that, you know, chickens are like, you know, they're dying. It's kind of dark, but the chicken has to come from somewhere. I kind of themed the machine to be steampunk, and I made a pipe that goes into the wall, so you know where it comes from. And it looks pretty good. Now I need to recreate the soda machine. Now I didn't realize this, but they don't actually have a soda machine, I think. But I added it anyways because, you know, they have soda everywhere. Now it might look familiar to my McDonald's version. That's because it is, except it isn't. I made McDonald's in VR when I first started using Unreal Engine 6 months ago. So the method I used wasn't very efficient. Let me show you.
Yeah, so in this McDonald's game I also had a soda machine, but it looks pretty bad. Like, this is just a cylinder. Like, this does not actually look like water flowing. And so in this new one, I'm going to use a particle system instead. If we grab a cup here and we fill it up, it doesn't actually behave like water. I can just tip it over, and I can just like tip it over and nothing happens to it. It's just a solid object. So in this new one, I'm going to use a shader instead, which I think will be pretty good.
So in this new version, I wanted to create a custom water shader that looks like water actually has gravity, like in Half-Life Alyx. And instead of using a cylinder model, I would use a particle system. I spent hours trying to find a way to do this, and after searching through the entirety of the internet, I found a video explaining a simple way to do it, and it actually worked. But just when it was going so well, a glitch in the shader appeared whenever I tried to make the water and cup a different color. And I literally spent hours trying to fix it, but I couldn't. And even with this bug, I decided to continue and try to fix it later. Now to add the flowing liquid, I used a Niagara particle system, and I used much more efficient code where when the particles hit the soda, it fills up. Whereas when I used particle systems before, like in my Pizza Hut game, I would use a timer. Now it works perfect. This chicken's pretty good, and also subscribing is good. So these videos can literally take months to make, so just clicking the button can really help me out and grow the VR community. Now the next step to recreating KFC is to add the sauce. They don't actually have this at KFC, but I thought it would be better to make something original, you know? The plan is to make a machine with 4 buttons that give 4 different sauces for different chickens: Korean, honey and garlic, sweet and sour, and orange chicken. Then when you put the bucket underneath, you can cover the chicken with sauce. I made this model on Blender and then created different particles for each sauce until I realized that my model was trash, so I redid it again and it was great. As you can see, I have the bucket here, and prestige. I've got all the different types of sauces: orange chicken, honey and garlic, sweet and sour, and Korean. We just put it here. Let's say I want to make Korean. Hold it down. Oh yeah, that looks nice. It's pretty red, but I can change the colors of those. So yeah, works nice. I'm pretty sure the kernel would approve. The final thing to complete this game is to add custom. But before that, you may be wondering what the name of the game is. I can't name it KFC as I get sued by them, so instead, AFC. Basically means AJ's Fried Chicken. Super good name. I used AI to create the logo with my crow instead of Colonel Sanders, and in Photoshop I adjusted it to make it pretty similar to KFC. Then I brought it into Blender to make it 3D, and I think it looks pretty good. To make customers, there are 3 things we need to do, and the first thing I did is to get customer models from Poly.Pizza, and luckily Quantinarius had a pack of a lot of characters with animations, and the cool part about that is they use all the same animations, so I can just use one walk animation and use it over all the characters, which makes it so much easier to code. After downloading them, I need to make them walk to the counter. To do this, I used a spline, which customers can follow, but this time I wanted their head to turn and look at you. This is pretty common for NPCs to do, but in my previous games, they just stood there, staring into blank space. And luckily, I found the perfect tutorial for it, so I followed it, and it should work. And okay, yeah, they unfortunately decided to snap their necks backwards, but after a few tweaks it did okay. And now it's the other way. Great. I spent hours trying to fix this. I took the headset off, tweaked the value by like 0.1, and I put it back on, and I saw nothing change. And after damaging my head by doing that a million times, I tried clicking this singular button, and it worked. Why? Literally just one but anyways, we finally got it, so instead of them staring blankly into space, they stare deep into your soul. And now the last thing we need to do is make it so they can order food. This is pretty easy as I've done it before, and I used a giant TV, and they can choose drinks like Powerade, Fanta, and Cola. Cola isn't owned by Coca-Cola, so that's pretty good. And of course they can choose between all the delicious new AFC chicken flavors. I made a bell so you can complete the order, and just like that, we're on to our last step: truly make KFC, which is to polish the game. The first part of polishing this game is to add particle effects. Although I've used particle effects for the soda machine and saucer, I still need to add it to the flour bag and to the deep fryer to make it feel more realistic. So I started with the deep fryer, and I created this particle system to recreate the bubbles when you place the chicken into the deep fryer. I then used a noise texture to make the oil move rapidly and make it even more realistic. I also made it so when you burn the chicken and take it out, it will still be smoking for a while after you take it out. Little details like these is what makes the game feel alive. I then added the flour particle system to the flour bag, and I redesigned the soda machine to match the steampunk theme. Finally, the second part is to add sound. I downloaded sounds for the buttons, fluid, sauce, bell, and for the deep fryer. I made a sizzling sound that would be played over the oil bubbling sound when you place the chicken in. For me, this made it easier to hear if someone was still cooking or not. And just like that, the game is finished. Welcome to AFC. Finally, the game's finished, and looks like this guy wants plain chicken. So we can just come over here, press that button, have chicken. Need to fill this up. Whoa, as you can see, it just fills up. Great, just put that in there, put it in there, grab some more chicken. You can see when I put it in here, it's gonna start sizzling. Whoa, that's nice. Grab the bucket of chicken. I'm gonna take this, take that. That's beautiful. Put that down. From cola. Shade is kind of broken, but you know. And alright, and he's gone. That's some more. Just put it in there. Throw it in there. Chicken. Toss it in.
Ooh, yeah. How you do it. This guy wants orange chicken. Then we just place it on the saucer, then tap the orange chicken button. Yeah, that's good. That's definitely orange. Put that there. He wants Fanta, so we can grab the cup. Put it on this thing, Fanta. And boom, just like that, we have gotten this guy an order. Goodbye.
So anyways, thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe and click here to watch another of my videos.